Welcome to the homework video for Chapter 1, Section 7 of Algebra 2, which covers how to solve absolute value equations and inequalities. Here's your original homework assignment. Here are the problems that I am going to be completing, and let's get to work. Number 3, decide whether the given number is a solution to the given equation. Remember, a value is a solution to the equation if, after you substitute and reduce, it creates a true statement. So the first thing you're going to want to do here is actually substitute. Okay, we do not know if this is a true statement, so I'm going to use a question mark so that way I'm aware that I'm trying to check and see if this statement is true. Now I can only check after I have simplified. So what is negative 13 minus 1? Right, it's negative 14. But we have not taken the absolute value yet, so I still want to use the question mark. What is the absolute value of negative 14? 14. Now, is this a true statement? Is 14 equal to 14? Yes. So we use a check mark to signify to the reader that this is in fact true. Now, if you were to get something like this, is this a true statement? No. So if you get something that is not true, you just put a slash through the equal sign, which means not true. So this is if the two values are not the same, and you use this if the two values are the same. And that's all they want for problem number 3. So the check mark says yes, this is in fact a solution. Problem number 9. Solve the equation and graph the solution. So first things first, how do we solve an absolute value? We split it up into its two parts. Okay? Now after the split, we want to isolate the variable. Well, is x already by itself? Yeah. So is there any work to do? No. So this is already solved. Now what they want you to do is to graph it. So we need to go out to negative 9 on the left and positive 9 on the right in order to graph this. Alright, so at x equals 9, what does equal look like on a number line? It is simply a filled in circle. So there is x equals 9. So we do the same thing at negative 9 and we're done. So we have solved the equation and we have graphed it. So we're done with problem number 9. Problem number 26. Solve the equation, and if you notice, this equation is a little bit more involved, but it's the same basic process. So the first thing you're going to want to do is split it into its two equations. The first one, nothing changes. So your first equation will match exactly with what the original is without the absolute value. Now, remember, for the absolute value, the other side of an equation is the negative 43. So, when you split the other side, you will get this, because the absolute value of negative 43 is a positive 43, and the absolute value of 43 is 43. So if either of these two equations are true, that will give us a solution to the equation. And now we just solve like we normally do. So just work through your process. And you can use either of these two answers and then complete the left-hand side as well using the same steps from the right-hand side. And these are your two solutions. So if r equals 9 or if r equals negative 12 and a half, then the equation will be true. And that's all they wanted you to do. Problem number 43. Solve the inequality and graph the solution. Again, your first step is always to split apart the absolute value. So the first split always matches exactly with what's written. The second split, when it comes to an inequality, all we do is flip over the sign and then change the right-hand side either from a positive to a negative or a negative to a positive. Now we want to get J by itself, but what do you see? J is already by itself, so now these two are solved. So now they want us to graph them. So we're going to graph less than or equal to 5, greater than or equal to negative 5. So we need a 5 on here. And we need our negative 5. And again, go one past, just in case we are shading to the left and the right instead of into the middle. So J has to be less than or equal to 5. So open circle or closed circle? Open circle. Less than is to the left. So you have that. J greater than or equal to negative 5. Open circle or closed circle? Open circle. Where is J greater? To the left. So is this an and or an or? Right, this is an and, so you shade between. And just like that, you're done. Okay? So follow the same processes that we've been using for the last 3 or 4 sections. Alright, solve the inequality and graph the solution. Same thing as the previous problem, only a bigger equation. So what's the first thing you do when you have an absolute value? Right, you split it apart. So your first split, everything matches. Second split, flip the inequality sign, change the sign on the right. Now, solve each piece for x. Because we have inequalities, if you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to flip that sign. So just work through it like you would a regular inequality. And as you work, you're going to get x less than or equal to negative 8 on the right-hand side. And now do the same thing on the left. So those are the two solutions. X is greater than or equal to 2, and x is less than or equal to negative 8. So x greater than or equal to 2, x less than or equal to negative 8. So now we have to graph them. So we need 2, and we need to make sure to go one pass just in case. And then 1, 0. Go out to negative 8, and go one pass just in case. Alright, so for the first inequality, x greater than or equal to 2. Open circle or closed circle? Right, that's going to be a closed circle. And where is x bigger, to the left or to the right? To the right. And remember, if you hit the arrowhead, you have to put an arrowhead on your graph. No arrows, no points. The second inequality, x less than or equal to negative 8. Again, open circle or closed circle? Closed circle. And then which way is x smaller, to the left or to the right? To the left. So we shade all the way down, and again, make sure to include that arrowhead. Okay, so this should not be scary. This should not be anything daunting. It's the same types of processes we've been working on for the last 3 weeks. So remember, if you still have questions, make sure you're asking them in class, you are working in your groups, or you're showing up after school on Wednesdays for tutoring. Okay, again, here's your full homework assignment. Good luck with it. If you have questions, make sure you're asking them and getting them answered in class. And as always, these problems came out of the Algebra 2 Michigan edition distributed by McDougal Littell.